You know how sometimes you think you know someone, and then just like that, they show you a side of themselves you never saw coming. That's what happened with Anna, my wife of 9 years. It all started a few days before New Year's Eve. We were sitting in the living room, the Christmas tree still up and the smell of pine needles lingering in the air. She had that look in her eyes, the one that told me she was about to ask for something I wouldn't like. Brian, she said, biting her lip like she always did when she was nervous. I was thinking maybe I should spend New Year's Eve at my parents' place this year. I stared at her confused. Your parents' place? Why? We always spend New Year's together. She sighed and fiddled with the hem of her sweater. Yeah, but we haven't seen them much this year, and they've been asking when I'll visit. Besides, you know how you hate those big family gatherings. I leaned back, trying to read between the lines. Anna, we've got plans. We were going to watch the fireworks by the river, remember? You're just going to leave me alone on New Year's Eve. Her face hardened a little. Brian, it's not like you even enjoy those things. I just thought it would be nice to be with family for a change. That's so bad. The argument heated up from there, voices rising like the temperature in the room. I accused her of being selfish, of springing this on me at the last minute. She shot back that I never wanted to do anything different, that I was too set in my ways. The conversation ended with her storming out of the room, leaving me staring at the blinking lights on the Christmas tree. The next morning, she packed a bag and left for her parents' house. I didn't stop her. I figured we both needed some space. For the next couple of days, we barely spoke. She just texted me once to say she arrived safely. 2 days before New Year's Eve, I got a message from Mark, a family friend of ours who lived in the same town as Anna's parents. He was the kind of guy who always made it a point to stay in touch during the holidays. Hey, Brian, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Are you and Anna coming down here for New Year's Eve? Would be great to catch up if you're around. I quickly replied, Hey, Mark, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you too. Anna's actually there at her parents' house right now, but I won't be coming. Maybe next time. His response came almost immediately. Really? That's strange. I was at her parents' house earlier today, and they didn't mention anything about her being there. They even said they were spending New Year's alone. Are you sure? My heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? She told me she was staying with them. Mark replied, Yeah, man, I saw her parents myself. They didn't say a word about Anna visiting. Are you sure she's there? I had paused for a moment, trying to process what he had just said. Thanks for letting me know, Mark. I'll check in with her. I texted back. I stared at the screen, feeling a rush of confusion and suspicion. If Anna wasn't at her parents' house, then where the hell was she? I couldn't wrap my head around it. Why would she lie to me? Something must be wrong. The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I became. This wasn't like Anna, and the pieces weren't adding up. That same day, I decided I needed answers. I hired a private investigator to track her down and find out where she really was. It felt extreme, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously off. The next day, around evening, the investigator called me with an update. Brian, I found her, he said, then gave me the address. As soon as I heard it, I realized it was Lisa's address. Lisa was Anna's best friend, and they had been inseparable since college. But I never liked her. She had a reputation for being promiscuous and had been divorced twice after being caught cheating on her husbands. Every time I voiced my concerns about Lisa, Anna would get defensive and angry, insisting that she was just misunderstood. I told the private investigator to keep an eye on her and to follow her if she went anywhere. He agreed and stayed on watch. Around 11 p.m., she went out of the house with Lisa, got into Anna's car, and drove off. The investigator called me immediately to report it. They're on the move, he said. What do you want me to do? Follow them, I instructed. Let me know where they go. About 20 minutes later, he called again. They've stopped at a house. They just went inside. Other couples and people are arriving too. I could feel my heart racing. Where are you exactly? I asked. He gave me a location, and I quickly grabbed my keys. Stay there and watch. I'm on my way, I said before hanging up. 30 minutes passed before I arrived. The investigator was still outside, keeping a close eye on the house. I pulled up beside him and rolled down my window. There were still people coming into the house, couples and individuals, all dressed up as if they were heading to some exclusive event. All right, I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline pumping through me. I need you to go inside and see what's going on. The private investigator went inside with a few other people. As he walked through the house, he quickly realized this wasn't a normal party. There was something unsettling about the atmosphere, charged, almost electric. Groups of people lingered in corners, laughing too loudly, but there was an underlying tension, a sense of secrecy. A few minutes in, he noticed couples whispering and looking around, some exchanging flirtatious glances. The more he observed, the clearer it became this wasn't just a casual gathering. It was a swinger party. He quickly texted me about it. Brian, this isn't just a regular party. It's a swingers party. I sat there in shock. I couldn't believe it. My heart was racing and my hands trembled as I stared at the screen. This was worse than I could have ever imagined. A few minutes later, the investigator texted me again. I'd spotted her. She's with Lisa and 5 other guys. They're talking, laughing, and flirting with each other. I couldn't believe it, my wife with Lisa and 5 guys. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. Then, just as I was trying to process it, the investigator sent one final message. They disappeared into a room. I don't know what's happening in there, but I'll keep an eye out. I was done waiting. I'm coming in. Open the door for me. I got out of my car and quickly made my way to the back. The investigator quickly opened the door just as I approached. I slipped inside, my heart pounding in my chest. The house felt strange, almost alien, and I was acutely aware of every creak of the floor beneath me. The investigator whispered from behind, "They're in the second room on the left." I didn't say anything as I moved down the hallway, my fists clenched. The door was closed, but I didn't hesitate. I opened it without a second thought. What I saw made my stomach turn. Anna was in bed, naked with 3 guys, and Lisa was with 2 others. They were all entwined in a tangled mess of bodies, doing things I never thought I'd see my wife do. Anna froze when she saw me. Her face went pale, and for a split second I saw something in her eyes, guilt, shame, maybe even fear. I couldn't hold it in anymore. "This is what you meant by going to your parents' house." My voice was trembling with anger and disbelief. She scrambled for words, but they came out wrong. "Brian, what are you doing here?" I couldn't listen anymore. I turned around and walked out of the room, heart heavy, every step like a hammer against my chest. Anna quickly put her clothes on, came after me, her voice frantic. "Brian, wait, please just let me explain." I didn't want to hear it, but I stopped anyway, my back still turned. She grabbed my arm and spun me around. The desperation in her voice only made my heart ache more. "Let go of me, Anna," I said, my voice low and controlled. She didn't, though. "What are you doing here, Brian? What am I doing here?" I shot back, disbelief creeping into my voice. "What about you? In fact, I saw exactly what you were doing. You were cheating on me." She tried to defend herself, her words coming out quickly. "I was in bed with other guys. So what? It's not a big deal. It was just one night. Are you out of your mind?" I almost shouted, the anger rising in me. "Do you hear yourself, Anna? If that's not cheating, then what is it? What do you want me to say, huh? That this is a big deal, that I'm sorry." Her words came out in a rush, because it's not a big deal, Brian. You haven't cared about our relationship for months. All you've done is shut me out. So what if I did this? I was taken aback by her response, unable to hide the hurt that flashed across my face. "What do you mean, so what? This is betrayal, Anna." She shrugged, her eyes hardening. "It's not like you've been present. You've been so distant, so uninterested in anything. I tried to talk to you, but you just weren't there. I needed something different, something that made me feel alive again." Her voice wavered with frustration. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "So your answer was to cheat on me, to sleep with other people behind my back." "It wasn't about cheating," she said, her tone almost defensive now. "It was about finding something that made me feel excited, Brian. You stopped making me feel that way." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I shook my head in disbelief. "We could have worked on this. Why didn't you talk to me? You didn't have to do this." If you've listened to the story up to this point, please subscribe to my channel. Her arms crossed over her chest as she met my gaze, cold and unyielding. "I tried, Brian. I really did. I needed something more, but you were always so wrapped up in your work and routines. I thought you'd be disgusted by me if I told you what I really wanted. I stood there silent for a moment, trying to process the betrayal and the pain of it all. Anna, we could have figured this out together. You didn't have to go down this road. She looked at me, and her expression a mix of guilt and anger. I didn't think you'd want to, Brian. I thought you'd shut me down like you always did. I needed excitement, something to make me feel alive. And when you couldn't give me that, I found it elsewhere. I stood there speechless. Part of me wanted to scream, to yell, but another part of me just felt broken. How had we gotten here? This is over, Anna, I said, my voice firm despite the shaking in my chest. I'm done. I'm filing for divorce. When she heard those words, something snapped. Her eyes widened, and she took a step forward, her voice rising in panic. What? No, Brian, you can't do this. It wasn't a big deal. It was just one night. Just one night. I needed excitement, that's all. I shook my head, the weight of it all crashing down. You betrayed me, Anna. There's no coming back from this. She grabbed my arm, her grip tight and frantic. You can't destroy everything over this, Brian. Please, we've been together for so long. You can't just throw it all away. I pulled my arm back, my patience worn thin. You already threw it away, Anna. You made your choice. I continued, my voice steady but firm. I don't want you in my house anymore. Her eyes widened as she took a step back. What do you mean? I'll pack your things and send them to your parents' house, I said coldly. This is over. Don't come back. She froze, her eyes wide with shock. She didn't say anything, but the pain in her expression was unmistakable. Finally, I turned and walked away. I had no more words to say to her. A couple of days later, I filed for divorce. There was no turning back. Anna tried to reach out to me, sending messages and calling, but I didn't respond. I had made up my mind this wasn't something I could fix. Not anymore. I'd even called her parents to tell them what their daughter had done. I told them about the divorce and that I'd be sending her things to their house. There was no sugarcoating it. They didn't say much, but I could hear the disappointment in their silence. When the divorce papers were finalized, Anna didn't get anything from me. She didn't ask for a penny. She had already destroyed everything. She didn't contest it either, deep down. She knew what she had done, and she probably understood she didn't deserve anything from me and was over. And as I moved forward with my life, I realized that sometimes the hardest decisions were the ones that brought the most peace. I didn't have to carry the weight of betrayal any longer.